Hornady just released the 12th edition of their Reloading Handbook, and in this video, we're going to take a look from cover to cover. Hey guys, Gavin Gear here from UltimateReloader.com. This is a video that I've been waiting to do for quite a while, and with Hornady releasing the 12th edition of this Reloading Handbook, I think this is a great time to do it. So there's some new things here, right? The Reloading Handbook has a bunch of supplemental information in it. It has rifle data and it has pistol data. The data is oriented towards Hornady bullets, which we'll talk about in just a moment, but it can be used more generally as well. A couple things that are new for the 12th edition. So some of the newer propellants, like the Stay Ball lineup from Hodgdon. You got Stay Ball 6.5, Stay Ball Match. You're gonna find those powders in this handbook. Plus, it says right on the back, there's some cool new cartridges that are covered in the book and others, right? So previously you might have been looking at the Hornady supplemental materials, the PDFs that they release on the website for new cartridges. Now it's just all built into this 12th edition. So there's more than just reloading data here and ballistics data. This book is really well organized, and it has a lot of great background information and information that's going to be really helpful to a new reloader. So if you're not familiar with the Hornady company itself, there's a great overview of how Joyce Hornady started the company and how the company was built over the decades, kind of their vision, the way they do business, and all of that. Then we get into some of the other sort of conceptual material, the reference material. So reloading and bullet accuracy. You know, if you're shooting a rifle and you want to reload accurate ammo, gives you a really great conceptual overview of some of these things that you need to take into account. There's also an entire basics of reloading, picking the right components, picking the right equipment, some of the process specifics. So that's great. Like I said, if you're new to reloading, you can basically take this book and take some Hornady bullets and you can go load some ammunition. Yes, you're going to need some more information, and yes, there are other things that you need, but this will help guide you through the process. Then we have the Hornady bullet guide. So Hornady makes a bunch of different types of bullets, including A-tip, ELDM, ELDVT, Arrow Match, ELDX. I use a lot of these bullets. But if you're not familiar with Hornady's lineup, or if you're looking for a great target bullet, a great hunting bullet, and so on and so forth, you can use this guide to understand the difference that is inherent between one bullet and another and why you would choose one over the next. And then we've got a reloading step-by-step, and that has a lot of more in-depth information about the actual reloading process and things that you're going to need to look for. We've got tips and techniques. So things to do, things not to do, looking for things like, you know, pressure signs, for instance, some safety related things. So that also helps. If you are new to reloading and you read the whole book, you'll be in a good place. Okay, then we have rifle data. And one of the things that's notable about what Hornady puts into this book is there's some information and some granularity to the load data that you're not going to find in other manuals. I'll give you an example. In the whole 223, 556 space, often you'll find kind of one set of data, or maybe 223 over here and 556 over there. Well, Hornady goes a little bit further to break it down between 223 Remington, 223 Remington service rifle data, which competitors use in service rifle competitions, and then 556. Is the data close? Yes, it is. But it's broken down by those different shooting scenarios and disciplines, and that makes it a little bit easier to fine-tune for the specific uses that you have in mind. Let's take a look at some of this rifle reloading data. So each section, here it is, 6-arc. I was just talking about 6-arc today, that's funny. We've got a really nice shell casing dimension diagram here so that you can get some of those key bits of information. If you're wondering what case rim diameter, you want to go find a shell holder or whatever, or what the trim to length would be for the case. It's a very common thing that you're going to need to have accessible. It's all right there for you. We've got some basic facts, some background information about the cartridge, and then we start with lighter bullets and we work our way towards the heaviest bullets in that particular cartridge family. So here, just using the 6-arc as an example, we start with 58 grain bullets. We work our way all the way up to 108 and 110 grain bullets. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this manual is really oriented towards Hornady bullets. And if you are using Hornady bullets, you get some really nice information like the G1 and G7 BC for the particular projectile, the item number, so you can go straight to an online retailer to find that bullet. But you've also got things like the cartridge overall length. This provides a really great starting point for setting up your seating die. Yes, you might want to adjust seating depth depending on the free bore that you have in your rifle or as a part of a load workup, but it's really nice to have that information accessible. Okay, so let's say we're gonna load 110 grain A-tips. We're gonna use this section of data because we have a very small bucket of different bullet weights, 108 to 110 here that we're working with that we can interchange the data with, right? We can use this data with any of those bullets or any bullets really for the most part that are in that range, even third-party bullets. So we've got powders listed here on the left, and then we have different velocity brackets. And you can see very clearly in red here, the max load is given as a charge weight in grains, and that corresponds to a particular velocity. Now, your velocity may vary slightly depending on the characteristics of your bore, the length of your barrel, and so on and so forth. If you're using a gas gun, you'll get a little bit less velocity than with a bolt gun, but this will give you an idea of what you're looking at when you go to your chronograph. Okay, and then it's not just about rifle data. We also have, like here's 45 ACP. We have all of the popular handgun cartridges in here as well. Same exact format. We've got the shell casing diagram that has all of the key dimensions. Interestingly, 45 ACP is typically interchangeable with 308 Winchester and that entire family of cartridges for shell plates or shell holders. There are some exceptions. Hornady Lock and Load AP Press, for instance, has I think it's a number 45 shell plate for 45 ACP, and I think it's a number 1 or something like that for the 308 family because of some feeding issues. But you'll know here with this diagram all of the key dimensions. Again, all the key parameters spelled out here in this table of data. We've got a background of the cartridge, which can be really interesting to read. And then we go through the different bullet weights. We've got 185 here, and it goes up through the classic 230. And we've got the different Hornady bullet SKUs here and data in the same exact format. Powders on the left, velocities going from left to right in the table, max charge indicated with red there. But there's another thing in this manual, right? That's the rifle and pistol data. There's another thing that is actually really helpful is they have an amazing glossary in this loading manual. If you take a look at some of these diagrams and the information here, so here's the glossary section start. If you read this entire glossary, I challenge you to do that. You're gonna have an increased level of knowledge. I think that'll be really helpful in your shooting and in your reloading. And if you're wondering what something means, you can always go to this. Very, very broad information, very comprehensive. Ballistics, tools, reloading, quite a bit of great background info here. And kind of interesting to read. Honestly, it's almost like testing your knowledge. So that's a quick look at the 12th edition of Hornady's Reloading Handbook. And as I mentioned, online retailers and stores are going to have this. I know Mid-South Shooters has a bunch of these. So if you want one of these, that might be a great place to go for that. Here's my question for you is, are you using one of the Hornady handbooks? Which edition are you using? And what are some of your most frequently used sections? Or is there something specifically about the Hornady manual that you like? Drop a comment and we'll see you down there in the comments section. That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're watching Ultimate Reloader on TV and want to take advantage of free resources, exclusives, and hot deals, just hold your camera phone up to the QR code, tap on the link, fill out the information, boom, you're getting Ultimate Reloader emails. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, where we've got unrestricted content, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those channels. Ultimate Reloader also has a commercial solutions division serving law enforcement, the military, and the gun industry. We have some unique capabilities, including a comprehensive suite of recoil testing and evaluation capabilities, trigger profiling, and more. Thanks again for watching.